Rewrite medieval history through bloody siege combat and grand strategy. Rule, build, and wage war as one of the minor lords of medieval Europe. Medieval Kingdom Wars redefines medieval grand strategy. In the 14th century, the 100 Years' War was at its peak, with England and France fighting for land. Soon after, the war became dirty, and the fight for survival was the only thing on the monarchy's mind. The similarities to RTS games of this type, like medieval Total War, are obvious, but how does it compare? Let's get into the meat of the game. This is Medieval Kingdom Wars. So what does the campaign include? Medieval Kingdom Wars boasts a living, breathing map, giving the players an immersive and extensive playing experience. Whatever happens on the battle map will affect the look of the world map and vice versa, with events happening on the world map affecting your scenes in battles. May it be erecting buildings, walls, or the change in terrain, it will all be calculated in real time and change the way the game experiences each section of their playtime. Looking into towns and cities, the developers state how accurate the game is, and how they're trying to recreate with historical accuracy the vast looming buildings and geography of the cities. The terrain is also trying to be as accurate as possible to the time. Each individual building having its own authentic look and never breaking the immersion of the time period. To start the game, the player starts off with one town. From here, you can create your wealth. May it be bringing in vast amounts of trade and extending your economy, or ranging an army for the offensive. The player controls every movement they do. Although you only start with one city, it is the job of the gamer to build upon everything you have and expand, conquer, and take cities and towns that stand in the way. It is completely possible to stay a peaceful nation, building upon the resources that you have and staying defensive. The player must construct walls, buildings, and civilians to grow the population and bring your cities to the most powerful it can be. May it be sending men to chop down forests and gaining lumber, mining, or gathering food. Everything must be gathered to prepare for any inevitable wars to come. The RTS mode is the mode that players can use to create these incredible works of art. Not only creating the off building here and there, but adding to the already extensive towns and cities to create the capital you want. Like I said before, this will affect the whole world map in the most dynamic way possible. Anything created or destroyed or any actions in motion during the RTS view will of course appear on the world map later on. The devs not only want to create an RTS game, but implement many survival mechanics in there as well. The example used in the developer video talks about unit recruitment. Training too many units will result in higher wages having to be paid out, but with this comes more problems. Having too many troops can take away more money than you can produce in your economy, resulting in starvation and unrest from citizens, therefore decreasing your money income even further. It all circulates in a never-ending cycle, so managing your economy and city is one of the most important roles for the player in the RTS mode. The game also includes a complex text tree. Instead of creating overwhelming UI that covers the majority of the screen like so many other RTS games in the genre, Medieval Kingdom Wars wants to create a more human touch to the game. Each player has a number of advisors used to advance throughout the world, with tech trees, abilities and skills all being progressed from here. The game includes quests that have multiple outcomes, therefore advisors are great for keeping each player on track, as a wrong move or the wrong outcome to a quest can have disastrous consequences. But let's talk about war. How does it work and what can we expect from Medieval Kingdom Wars? When going to war, strategy even comes into the timing of it. The chance of a successful battle or siege is far greater in the summer or spring than it would be during the winter. This is because of the obvious setbacks of bad weather on armies and of course the AI alike. The battles are striving to be an insane scale, with sieging towns and cities having greater knockbacks on many armies, so preparations are vital. Of course, if you're sieging a town or city for a long time, your armies are going to get hungry, they're going to need the right supply of food, they're also going to need the right resources to keep happy and make sure they don't revolt on you. Most of the time, sieging opposing towns will not be possible on your own, because of the sheer scale of them. So teaming up with other AI is crucial to taking down many enemy provinces. This means improving the relations with many cities and kingdoms is essential when the war comes around. To improve these relations, I'm speculating there'll be things like quests that you can do for each kingdom and the leaders within it. These could be things from very simple ones, from taking messages from one person to another, but I suspect they're going to be more than that. For example, helping them in wars is going to make them like you a little bit more, so they're more likely to help you when you go into war. And vice versa. Maybe there'll be intermarriage between these kingdoms that you can form alliances from, and creating an even more powerful army. When at war, it is possible to build and destroy things in battle, with siege weaponry, walls and palisades to then be destroyed at any time. This is a great addition. I always love the destructible terrain, as it really kind of creates the dynamic world that would be more realistic during the time. There's also the possibility to starve out defenders, and it is a great way to weaken them. Cornering them to resort to starvation, eating things like rats there will get disease, to take down them from the inside. They'll tear down their own cities just to gain those few bits of resources left, and eventually there's a chance they may revolt within, giving the attackers a number of ways to take the city down. This creates a great variation to gameplay and stops it from getting stale from time to time. Many RTS games we have seen from the past, and I just want to link it to Total War. I know people might get a bit annoyed by that, but Total War is the leading RTS franchise at the moment. Within that, there are fewer ways of taking down cities. A lot of the time it's just full-on, head-on charges. Yes, you can weaken them, but you can never take them down fully by just a revolt or something like that. And I'll get onto that just right now on some cool ways that they have implemented that taking down a city is not all about battering down the gates. A great little detail that the developers have included is that if the defenders are so desperate that they are starving, they've got nothing else to live for, there's in fact a possibility of them opening their own gates to let in the invading army. Just so they won't survive, and so that they might be able to live longer without having this invading army knocking at their door, and their own king is killing his people just because he doesn't want to be invaded. This is a great way of the inclusion of taking cities and towns other than just battering down the gates. There's also possibilities of killing all the livestock, burning all the wheat and things like that, and stop trade carts coming in. This will definitely hurt the economy. People will go poor, they'll have nothing to live for. And it's going to be a lot easier if the people of the town you're trying to attack are more accepting towards the invading army. All these things put together make it very difficult to defend, so preparations, like I said before, not only crucial for attacking, but also the defensive. If you want to do the short run, but it looks like you might have to prepare for the long haul as well. Personally, I think the battles look great. Such large scale on everything you do provides a wealth of gameplay for anyone who wants to get involved, and giving a dynamic world to do as they desire. Graphics look fantastic. I know with RTS games it's very difficult to get the high fidelity that you can with games such as first person shooters and smaller scale ones, since because RTS games are normally on a massive scale. This means creating different textures for individual units and getting it optimized well is an extremely hard task for developers, but it looks like they could be able to do that with it at the moment. There is also the inclusion of a powerful editor in the game, and workshops, hinting the use of custom map within the game, and possibly modding later on continue to extend the playability throughout. The confirmed game modes at the moment seem to be the campaign, which I've spoken about in the main portion of the video, but there also seem to be confirmation of a skirmish mode. I would have to speculate the similarities to the custom battles in the Total War games, comparing them once again, where players go head to head with the armies on pitched battles or great sieges to fight for glory and victory. The game is set to release on the 8th of June 2017, so 2 days after the release of this video, but of course it'll probably be released by the time you're watching it. And personally, I would love to see some type of inclusion of a co-op campaign. It seems like such a great opportunity to miss for something like this with how in-depth and extensive they're going already, and just adding the inclusion of a co-op campaign would bring it higher and higher up my ranking list. Being able to do all these in-depth and extensive things that we have seen and that I've talked about previously in the video, but with a partner. May it not be too many people, may just one other player be able to go into battle with you and to create this kingdom. That would be all it would take to put this game at the top of the RTS franchises. But what do you think? Do you think this is an improvement on games of the genre in the past? And what would you like most to see? Make sure you leave your comments down below. Riding into battle alongside medieval knights and conquering the medieval kingdom is something gamers have always dreamed of doing with the modern day technology. But how will it turn out? I guess only time will tell. But until then, I will see you in the next one.